Now then guys, how are you doing? Craig here and thank you for joining me on another rebuild. Today we look at rebuilding Manchester United. Now, I keep hearing that Ollie's at the wheel. I don't know what he's at the wheel of, you know. Is it a sinking ship? A train wreck? He's certainly not steering them in the right direction anyway. So, fictionally then, he's been removed from his job and I've been put in charge. Now, there's plenty of dead wood in this team. My first task is going to be a mass clear out of all of those poor quality players that aren't really committed and are basically just picking up a large wad of cash. So, as with every rebuild, I've got 5 years to rebuild the club. First of all, I've got to stay in the job, and second of all, I've got to try and make United great again. So, before we do that, I just want to take the opportunity to thank you very much for joining me on the journey. And if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe, as it would mean a lot. And if you're a regular viewer, thank you very much for your continued support. I appreciate it as always, but let's now get into the mess that is Manchester United. Right then guys, so here we are, day one at the club. And the big thing about United is they've got a decent enough team, and yes, they have been battered in the last recent weeks. You know, at the time of me filming this, they've just been smashed 2-0 by Manchester City. Obviously, they had that 5-0 defeat to Liverpool as well. Now, if you're watching this in 6 months' time, it may be rosy at Manchester, but at this moment, United are struggling. And they've got no real leadership. There's reports of Harry Maguire struggling with the burden of being captaincy, and that's affecting his performance. Now, Maguire, for me, I don't think is a world-class centre-back anyway. Yes, he's English, and I would like to have a lot of English players at the club. But is he one of them that I want to keep? If I can get the right money for him, I'll let him go. I think they paid £80 million for him. It's unlikely that I'm going to recoup that. But squad-wise, definitely got to make a change and freshen things up. So when we have a look at the finances first of all, and we've got £30 million in the overall balance, we're getting 100% of the transfer revenue. £30 million is an ideal start. Yes, would I have liked 150 million? Obviously, wouldn't everybody, but £30 million is a good base to start with. I can bring in 1 or 2 players that'll be squad players, but will definitely improve. You know, the likes of Fred, what is he doing there? Phil Jones is still at the club. Apparently. We'll find out shortly, but I'm sure Phil Jones is still there as well. So there are a couple of players that we can get off the books, generate a bit of cash, bring in some better quality squad players, and then build the core of the team around the 5-6 world-class players that we have got. So wage budget, we've got 4.8 million, and we're currently spending 4.6. And in the overall balance, things are looking rosy there with 245 million keeping us in the black. So the club vision and the club culture then is to develop players using the club's youth system, sign high reputation players, play entertaining football, sign players under the age of 23 for the first team, and just sign players under the age of 23 for the future. To play attacking football, we will play attacking football, I promise you that. Don't know tactically really how we're going to play yet. If you've seen any mover videos, tactically, I like to change it up. It's not very often I'll have the same tactics season after season, and obviously that's a problem when you try to commit to your transfers and bringing players in to mould into a certain position. However, with United, I think we've got that spine, like I've just said earlier, to build that squad around. So the 5-year ongoing plan is to increase commercial revenue, not a problem, and to work within the wage budget. At the end of this season, they want a top 4 finish, and they want us to qualify for the Champions League, to reach the final of the FA Cup, to reach at least the semi-final of the Champions League. That's a big ask, that, to reach the semi-final. The Carabao Cup, it's not important. For me, it is any kind of silverware. For whatever competition you're in, we want to be winning it. And to challenge in a domestic cup competition, well, we'll do that anyway. If they want us to get into finals and semi-finals, we're going to be challenging. So that is the club vision. What about then at the end of the rebuild? So basically 5 years into the future, they want us to become the most reputable team in England, become the most reputable team in the world and in Europe, develop the best youth system in the country, and develop the Premier Division's best youth system as well. And obviously they want us to continue winning the title. Basically, from a season in, they want us to win the title. That's always the aim anyway. You know, I'm not surprised by that. I'm not put off by that. Manchester United should be aiming for the title season after season anyway. Competitions-wise then, like I say, Premier League, FA Cup, Champions League, Carabao Cup. All winnable competitions. Maybe that Champions League, maybe a step too far in the first season, but it's just about giving a good account of ourselves. Squad dynamics and team cohesion is average, club atmosphere is good and managerial support. I've got no issues within the team on day one. What about the hierarchy then? Cristiano Ronaldo supporters come straight in and he's absolutely loving it. But I've got 5 players as supporters, 22 players have no real opinion of us, and nobody opposes us, so that is good. And then finally looking at the squad. So it looks like they've got a big squad here. Ability-wise, and who's the best player at the club? Cristiano Ronaldo, Varane, Pogba, Fernandes, Sancho, Rashford, Maguire. Apparently all up there, at least 3.5 stars. And who's got the best potential then, who hasn't developed as of yet? Nobody. Everybody's more or less fully developed. Mason Greenwood is 3-star, potential 4.5-star, but everybody else is there. What about wages? So we're spending 475k per week on Cristiano Ronaldo. David De Gea is on 350k. Now, David De Gea, I'll be surprised at the end of his first transfer window if De Gea is still with us. His stats and attributes there are absolutely shocking. Him, and I've seen Fred in the past as well. Fred, this guy at Man United, look at the state of that. Yes, he's 28-year-old. We bought him for £40 million. £40 million. Shakhtar must have been laughing all the way to the oil rig there, because that is a bad decision. But overall, I think the squad is relatively decent. Ability-wise, who's the worst player at the club? Lee Grant, 38-year-old. He'll just sit there anyway. Tom Heaton, Fred, Tellez, Phil Jones, Jesse Lingard. I would say the poorest people. Lingard, though, can still do a job. I think he can still do a job, depending on the formation we play, obviously. And then looking at the squad depth, and this is just set to a generic 4-4-2, as I'm not quite sure what tactic we're going to use at. So Cristiano Ronaldo is the best striker left and right, with Rashford, Greenwood, Cavani's there as well, and Martial. Out on the left-hand side then, Sancho, Pogba, Rashford, Tellez, Lingard. Out on the right-hand side, it's exactly the same with Dalot in there as well. Midfielders, Fernandes, Pogba, McTominay, Van der Beek, Donny. Let's free him. He has got the potential to be a world-class player. Now, laugh all you want. On this as well, attributes-wise, he's all-rounded. So, he could be a world-class player. At the back, defender left, Luke Shaw, get out the club. Get out the club. Alex Tellez and Dalot, and out on the right-hand side, Wan-Bissaka. Another one, meant to be this England prodigy, and he's not been great. He's not exactly covered himself in glory as of late, but it's how he develops in FM22. Centre-back options, Varane, Maguire, Phil Jones, Tuanzebe, who's out on loan. So I do need another world-class centre-back, I think. Obviously, that's even if we let Harry Maguire go. And then in goal, Dean Henderson potentially could be the number one with De Gea, Tom Heaton, Henderson and Lee Grant. But Dean Henderson, for me, when we look at the comparison, we compare him with De Gea. Henderson's a more all-rounded goalkeeper, and yes, De Gea on there you could say is slightly better. Henderson's communication 14, distribution 13, eccentricity, we just ignore that one for now as that'll improve over time. But 24-year-old as well, De Gea 30. De Gea, what is he worth? Currently valued at 33 to 37 million, so there is an opportunity to bang in 30 million off him as well. So there we go then, guys. We've got acquainted with the squad. First transfer window now. We'll talk about the ins and outs afterwards because I'm going to be very busy. Right then, guys, so that's the first transfer window done, and in my opinion it's been a success. When we look at the finances of the club, we've still currently got £211 million in the overall balance, £22 million in the transfer budget, and a wage budget of £4.8 million. We're 500k under that. That wage budget, though, that is nice and healthy. Players leaving the club then, the first player out was a 27-year-old Victor Lindelof. Now he's been made the scapegoat of Man United's defensive problems as it stands. We bought him for 30.5 million, and in fairness, when he joined from Benfica, I thought he was going to be a decent player. Now he played 29 games last season, £26 million offer coming from Chelsea, and if I'm completely honest, I don't know what they were thinking. He's now valued at £81 million, I get that, but attributes-wise, he's not that good. So to get that kind of money for him, I was happy with. Juan Mata, obviously back end of his career now, has gone off to CSKA Moscow. He's played 2 games, scored a goal though. Currently 33-year-old. Attributes-wise, he's decent, but he was never going to feature going forward. And that is also the same for Matic, who has gone off to Real Madrid for £3.8 million. I am surprised that we got £3.8 million for him. I'd have let him go for nothing. Another player to leave them was Jesse Lingard, so he has gone to Napoli for £16.5 million. Obviously had a decent season with West Ham on loan last season, but probably wasn't going to feature. We've got much better younger players who can play out on them sides, and obviously Cristiano Ronaldo as well. So Jesse Lingard, the money come in, too good to refuse, and it helped us buy players that we needed. Anthony Martial has gone off to Newcastle. Now, Newcastle throughout these rebuilds are the gift to keep on giving. As long as they stay in the Premier League, because they have been relegated in some of the rebuilds that I've done, they will continue to buy transfer listed players. And Martial was transfer listed. Now, originally we spent 45 million on him from Monaco, but 17.75 million is a good price deal, I'll be honest, but even then he's currently valued at 12 to 17.5 million. He's decent. He likes to play off the shoulder, and that's not the way I want to play. I'm going to play a false 9 when we talk through the tactics shortly. That's the way I'm going to play. And while he's quick, his dribbling, finishing, first touch, composure is all good, and he's 25-year-old. He would not be a regular starter in my squad. And then just a little bit to talk about. Fred hasn't left. However, Wolves have taken him on loan, and I'm absolutely buzzing about it. So yes, Fred will not be at Manchester United this season. So the first player that I've brought in then is Geoffrey Kondogbia. Now, he's come in to play in the central midfield. He's just a squad player. That's all he is. I've basically spent £10 million on a player that may start 2-3 times this season. I would expect to see plenty of substitute appearances, but with the quality we've got in centre midfield, I wouldn't imagine he'll be a regular starter. We then spent £40 million on Paulo Dybala. Now, real quality centre forward, and he's going to play as my false 9. Now, we paid £40 million for him up front, 10 million add-ons as well. 4 goals last season for Juve. I don't really know what happened there. He fell off a little bit, but I'm expecting big things from this guy this season. Look at those technicals. Everything about him screams winner. And we're also linking him up with Cristiano Ronaldo as well. So I'm expecting big things, like I say. Currently valued at 80 to 96 million pounds. 27-year-old, 29 caps for Argentina. Only 2 goals though. So we're going to play him up front in that false 9 position. And when you look at his attributes, fit him perfectly. And then finally strengthening at the back, we've brought in an elite centre-back in Pau Torres. 24-year-old, 14 caps for Spain. We paid £51 million for him, so we spent on the high side to get him in. 33 games last season from Villarreal. But again, when we look at the attributes needed, your core attributes for being a quality defender: heading, mark and tackling, positioning, strength, jump and reach. Composure's 12, we could work on that a little bit, but the rest of it, very, very high, and is a definite upgrade on Lindelof. So other bits to speak about quickly then is Cristiano Ronaldo is now the club captain. I've stripped Maguire of it. He's not even vice captain, so it is Cristiano Ronaldo. Serial winner, yes, he is a sulk, but he asked for 110% from everybody, so that was the right decision. Bruno Fernandes, currently vice captain. And then I had the conundrum of what to do with Paul Pogba, as his contract was expiring at the end of the coming season, but I've managed to tie him down on a 325k per week deal. It was only a 25k increase, and we've got him to the end of 2025. So tactics then for the squad, I'm going to play a 5-2-3. Now I've got it listed there as a libero. It's a tactic I've used before, but we're not going to play with the libero. We're going to go a custom tick attacker, positive mentality. De Gea in goal. Now that's only because Henderson is injured, but it's likely to be De Gea. I have had him transfer listed. Nobody wants him. His wage demands, I think he's already on like 300k, 350k a week. He's really poor, and the first opportunity I get to move him on, he will be out of the club. With Pau Torres, Varane and Maguire playing as a 3 at the back, with Shaw and Wan-Bissaka out wide. Obviously, I'd like Telles to be where Shaw is, but I'm happy with that. Pogba and Fernandes in the middle with Cristiano Ronaldo on one side, Sancho on the other, and Dybala up front. Now, obviously, we've got Greenwood. We've also got Marcus Rashford that can play on them wide areas and can play up front. We've got Cavani, who can play in that position where Dybala is as well. In the centre of midfield, I've got plenty of options. Kondogbia, McTominay, Van der Beek as well. So I think we've got a very good squad depth to say we'll be trying to win in all competitions this season. So squad dynamics and team cohesion is average, club atmosphere is good, and managerial support is good. I've got one player issue, and that's De Gea. He's not happy at a transfer listed him. And then looking at my hierarchy, my team leaders are Ronaldo, De Gea and Pogba. Ronaldo supporters. I've now got 8 players as supporters, 15 players that have no real opinion. And then finally, looking at the season preview, I expected a first place finish, 4-1 to win the league, Man City 9-5 and Liverpool 3-1. Now we have got players in the Media Dream 11, Fernandes and Cristiano Ronaldo making it in, but that team is packed with Liverpool and Manchester City players. Harry Kane also sneaks in up front as well. So that is it then, guys. That is the first transfer window out the way. So what we're going to do now is we're going to simulate forward to the end of Season 1, where hopefully we've got some kind of silverware, and we've at least got a top 4 finish in the league. That is not going to be good enough, don't get me wrong. We need to be pushing on to win the league, but we just need to make sure that we've got Champions League football again next season. Right, so Season 1 is out the way then, guys, and as you can see, we finished second in the league, equal on points with Manchester City, but 18 points behind Liverpool. That is shambles. But we've lost 8 games this season. 38 games played, 24 wins, 6 draws, 8 losses. Who are those losses to? 1-0 defeat to Newcastle, 2-1 to Chelsea, 3-1 against Spurs, 3-2 to Wolves, 1-0 at Leicester, 2-1 at West Ham, 3-0 against Liverpool, and 2-1 to Brighton. So there's only a couple of games there realistically that should have been challenging for us, and the rest of them we should have been winning. But we scored 64 goals, conceded 32. Goal difference was plus 32, and we had 78 points on the board. Manchester City lost 2 out of their last 5 games, and we've snuck into it. So let's have a look at those past positions then and see how it went for us. So we've been sat in between 2nd and 3rd basically since game day 27 where we beat Watford 2-0. I'm assuming Liverpool just sat top. Yeah, they did. What about Manchester City then? So they bottled it towards the back end of the season. We're actually in 2nd and drew 1-1 with us, and then lost 1-0 to Liverpool, and they couldn't see the way back. And Arsenal, so basically the top 4 have been fighting it out all season, but Liverpool were comfortably in top spot. Looking at our performance in competitions then, like I say, we finished 2nd in the league. I'm happy with that for the first season. In the Champions League, we were knocked out in the final. We were runner-up, 3-1 against Liverpool. So we had 13 shots, 6 on target, they had 10 and 4. They get Fabinho sent off for a 2nd yellow card on 33, and we still couldn't beat them. Then Henderson sent off on 88 minutes, and we were well and truly done there. That's our formation. How did they set up? So Thiago had a cracker of a game on an 8.2 in their midfield. So yeah, we were done by them there. We managed 57% and still couldn't do too much with it. But getting to the final of the Champions League, that's decent from your first season. We then won the FA Cup with a 3-2 victory in extra time against Arsenal. So we've got our first bit of silverware this season. And Dybala with a goal on 108 minutes in extra time. Alvarez with a goal on 97 minutes for them. But then Varane with a goal on 105 before Dybala on 108. Let's see this goal. It's Tellez with the wrong throw. And Dybala's there. The keeper's made a mess of it. Ramsdale flaps and we are gifted. And there we go. So our first bit of silverware. And then we were knocked out in the Carabao Cup in the 4th round by Brentford. So that's not ideal at all. But yeah, we've got our first bit of silverware, 2nd in the league and runner-up in the Champions League. I'm quite happy with that as a first season. Finances-wise and how we set up. So we've got 140 million in overall balance. It's quite a decrease since we took over. When we took over, 250 million. And like I say, down to what could potentially be 76.95 million. Transfer budget then, we've got £63 million to play with. And we've got 4.9 million in the wage budget. So how have the board taken to my appointments so far? So they're devastated that we haven't signed any players under the age of 23 for the first team or for the future. They are delighted though we signed high reputation players. As far as the current season goes, the Carabao Cup was filled, but it was not important anyway. Everything else we've done decent, I reckon. Obviously, we've got the Club World Cup Championship coming up in the summer, but we've passed everything. We've got a B, so my job is safe for the time being. And then looking at the squad dynamics, team cohesion is very good. Club atmosphere and managerial support are also very good. I've got players that have some concerns, and, you know, players like De Gea, Cavani. Cavani will be leaving on a free transfer now anyway. Luke Shaw isn't happy that he was fined for violent conduct against Norwich. He could well be leaving us as well. Top influencers wise then, anybody opposes? No, I've got 14 players and supporters. Pogba and Rashford, my 2 team leaders, still aren't fully convinced by us, and 8 players have no real opinion. And then finally looking at the player stats for the season end. So Mason Greenwood was top goal scorer, 21 goals. Highest average rating was Fernandes with a 7.2. He also had the most assists with 14. Best pass completion was Bailly with 98%. Most player of the match awards was Ronaldo with 10. Most yellow cards, Luke Shaw with 9. And most red cards, plenty of red cards. Tellez, Shaw, McTominay and Fernandes all with 1 apiece. Team stats wise then, goals scored 64, which is the 4th best. Goals conceded 32, 3rd best. Yellow cards 35, which is the 2nd best. And 2 red cards, which is the 9th best. Which is quite bizarre that we only got 35 yellow cards but got so many reds. So finally then, looking at the squad depth, I think for me, we just need to strengthen a bit more at the back. I've got to sort out the goalkeeping situation. As Dean Henderson, he'll have had a fairly steady season, I would imagine. So he played 32 times in the league, conceded 28 goals with 17 clean sheets. You know, valued at 36 to 44 million. English goalkeeper, he has got another cap now, I can see, for England. And then at the back, I'm happy, you know, Varane, Maguire, Torres. Obviously, Maguire potentially needs the improvement, but I'm quite happy with that as a back three. How did Dybala get on up front then? So 7 goals in the Premier League isn't the turnaround that I was after. And in the FA Cup, he got 3 and 4 starts. Obviously, he got the winner for us as well, which claimed us that trophy. So that is it then, guys. So the first season is over. And what we're going to do now is move into season 2, where I'll look at strengthening those areas we've just discussed. Right, so we've managed to do some quality strengthening in the transfer window, and I'm really happy with the depth we've added to the squad. We've also improved in the areas that I'd spoken about just before the break. We've managed to clear out some of the dead wood, some of the players that I couldn't really move on last season. So first of all, let's have a look at the finances. So we've got £65 million in the transfer budget, and we've still got one player to leave. We've got £4.9 million in the wage budget. We're spending £4.6 million. We've got £355 million in the overall balance. This season, we've made a profit of £240 million. Not bad at all, but we've made a loss this month of £2.3 million. I'm not overly worried about that. So the first player to go then was David De Gea, and he has gone off to Inter Milan for £20 million. Only played 6 games this last season. He was transfer listed last season. There was no interest, but Inter Milan just come out of nowhere. £20 million, 6 appearances, 4 conceded last season. 3 clean sheets though, but like I say, he was never going to be my number one. I've got no faith in the guy or confidence, and confidence is obviously a big thing you need in your goalkeeper. Then Norwich had a rush of blood, and they come in with an £11.5 million offer for Fred. He was on loan last season at Wolves, played 16 times. A 6.9 rating for them was fairly solid, but yeah, Norwich still in the Premier League, thinking that Fred's going to be the answer to their problems. Another player to go then was Andreas Pereira. Now he went off to Benfica for £10 million after being on loan in Brazil for the last 2 seasons. Played 18 games. 3 goals, 1 assist last season, but £10 million for a player that was never going to start. But coming in then, we've brought in the experience of Keylor Navas. Now, he's 35-year-old, 111 caps for Costa Rica, £10.75 million I paid from after PSG took him on for 13.25. That is a bargain. He's a regular starter for the club, even with Donnarumma being there. Obviously, last season, Donnarumma wrote him off, so he only made 1 start, but he did keep a clean sheet in that start. But this guy's coming in as my number 1. Obviously, Dean Henderson will have to challenge him for that place, but we've got an experience for a couple of seasons anyway. When we look at his stats, goalkeeping attributes are still good, mentals and physicals are all still there, and I still think he's got enough about him to be my first choice this season. Next of all, then, I want to strengthen out on that left-hand side. So Luke Shaw will be on his way out of the club. There's been a £22.5 million offer for him for Inter Milan. So they're doing us a solid this season. They've already took De Gea, and now they're after Luke Shaw as well. So I brought in Rafael Guerreiro. Now he can play, he's quite versatile, anywhere on the left-hand side, can also play down the centre. Could play up front if I wanted him to. Obviously that's not going to happen, but those stats, technical, mental, physically, very, very good. 28-year-old, 56 caps for Portugal, 3 goals, but is there to play as a left wing-back, challenge to Les. And we bought him for a snip price, in my opinion, of £23.5 million. He played 29 games last season for Dortmund, 1 goal, 8 assists, 5 player of match performances, and a 7.33 rating. But like I say, attributes-wise, bang on. And then finally, we've brought in the cheat code, which is Kylian Mbappe. So we got him on a free transfer. Everybody should be aware that PSG couldn't hold on to him somehow, but he made 35 appearances last season, 14 goals, 7 assists, 7 player of the match performances. Free transfer. This guy, what a start. 23-year-old. We've got him tied down to 2027. That's just past the end of this rebuild anyway, so we should have him all the way through. And say something disastrous happens, we're still going to get £100+ million for him anyway. So yes, Mbappe, while he's there as the main man up front, Dybala's still going to play in that position. Even though he's 4.5 star in that position as a false 9, he'll probably end up playing out on that left-hand side. So tactics-wise then, we're still going to play that 5-2-3. It's a wide formation, custom tiki-taka on positive. Did us proud last season. Now, I haven't needed to make too many wholesale changes, as I think Man United have got a decent squad, and they've done us proud last season. A second place finish in the league. Yes, we were a million miles away from Liverpool, but then we did win the FA Cup and got to a Champions League final. So this is going to be my starting 11. I'm going to go with Navas, Torres, Varane and Maguire at the back, with Guerreiro and Dalot outside. Now, Dalot has really impressed us. 23-year-old Portuguese player. Obviously, we know a lot about him from when he was at Porto. He went on loan to Milan, played 19 games for me last season. So it was a decent rotation option with Wan-Bissaka. So we're going to go Dalot out wide, with Pogba and Fernandes in the middle, and Mbappe and Ronaldo out on those wide areas with Dybala up front. That has got to be enough to challenge again for the title this season. Now, the development centre hasn't been spoken about enough. We've got some real talent in this development centre. Hannibal there, Palestri. Now Hannibal, obviously I'm trying to get these players out on loan. We've also got young Shortire, who's gone out already. Over the next couple of seasons, we may not see too many players coming in unless there's the right offer to be had, as Hannibal can feature, Palestri, Shortire's another talent like Greenwood and Rashford has been. Squad dynamics and team cohesion is good, club atmosphere is excellent, and managerial support is very good. No player issues, which is massive, because that's usually the case after transfer window, where people want to leave, contracts want renewing, but we've got away with it there. I've got 15 players and supporters, 9 players that have no real opinion of us. I still haven't got Pogba and Rashford on side though. And then looking at the competitions this season, now you've got the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield against Liverpool. I'd like to win some more silverware this season, naturally. And what is the expectation from the board? To reach the semi-final of the Champions League, top 4 finish in the Premier League as well, reach the FA Cup final. Carabao Cup's not important, and the Community Shield isn't important. Like I say, I want to be winning the Community Shield first of all up against Liverpool. And then the season preview then looks like this is what expected: a first place finish, 4-1 to win the league, with Liverpool and Manchester City expected to finish above us. We've got Bruno Fernandes and Mbappe in the Media Dream 11 as well, so Ronaldo dropping out, but I'm still happy with that as Haaland has gone to Manchester City. How much did they pay for him? £110 million. Scored 21 goals in 32 starts last season. So there we go then, guys. We're going to simulate forward to the end of Season 2. I'm happy with the business that we've done, but will it translate into results? Right then, guys, so Season 2 out of the way, and we've won the league. We've beat Liverpool by a point. Liverpool chasing us all the way. Chelsea on 83 points, Manchester City on 78, but we have done it. 2 seasons in, we've returned to glory, winning the league. 38 games played, 31 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses, 93 goals scored. Liverpool scored 101, but we conceded 21 goals. That is absolutely massive for the club, obviously, with the foundation that we've trying to build. Maybe Maguire isn't as bad as I thought. We got 97 points on the board. That form at the end of the season now, 5 wins out of 5. Liverpool losing and drawing a game in the final 5 games. So let's have a look then at the past positions. So we were in second place all the way through until match day 36 when we beat Liverpool 1-0. We then held on to the lead to beat Sheffield United 4-0 and West Ham United 1-0 as well. Liverpool were in the top 2 all the way through the season. Basically, they dropped down to third twice and that was it, but we've been sat in the top 2 all the way through. Competitions-wise, then obviously we won the league. We were knocked out in the semi-final of the Champions League by Liverpool. Bloody Liverpool have knocked us out the FA Cup as well, honestly. But we got the trophy that mattered this season, that was the Premier League. We were knocked out in the 3rd round by Leeds United in the Carabao Cup. And we were running up in the Community Shield as well. Is that Liverpool who done us there 1-0? Liverpool have had our number in every other competition, it seems. Looking at the finances then, we've got 432 million in the overall balance. Transfer budget, we've got 156 million pound to play with in this summer window. And then wage budget, we've got 4.9 million. We're currently spending 4.3, so we're 600k under that. Club vision wise then, I've got a B+, and the next season I'm expecting us to reach the quarterfinals as a minimum of the Champions League and to qualify for the Champions League in the Premier League. So they're not even expecting us to win, which surprises me after this season. Dynamics wise then, team cohesion is excellent, club atmosphere is very good, and managerial support is also excellent. I've got plenty of players that are unhappy. Rashford and Dalot both want to leave to play more games, and I've got players that want more game time, and I can live with that. I can sort all that out in the summer. Rashford's not going anywhere though. I've got 2 players that oppose us. Mbappe and Rashford are not happy with me at all. Was Rashford's down to the fact that he wants to take penalties? Mbappe just wants to take penalties. That is it. Apparently that was a promise when we took him on. Maybe put Mbappe on penalties. We want to keep him happy, obviously. And then looking at the player stats for the season then. So Ronaldo got 42 goals in all competitions. How many in the league? He scored 27 in 27 starts. 38-year-old. He's still got another season with us. He's not lost it though, has he? He got 7 goals in the Champions League, 5 in the FA Cup. Highest average rating was Varane with a 7.37. Most assists was Wan-Bissaka with 20. Best pass completion was to Nzabi with 98%. He's been in and out of the starting 11. Most player of the match awards was Ronaldo, as expected, for scoring those goals with 10. Most yellow cards was Wan-Bissaka with 8. Most red cards though, 1 red card each for Williams, Pogba and Torres. Team stats wise, then we played 38 matches obviously in the league. We scored 93 goals, which was the second best. We only conceded 21, which was the best, and that is some achievement. Yellow cards wise, 34, which is the best, and 2 red cards, which was the 8th worst. We also have the highest average attendance in the league. So I am interested to see how Ronaldo got on against everybody else for goals scored. He beat Romelu Lukaku by 1 goal, who got 26 this season. Erling Haaland got 25. Anthony Martial scored 24. What a mistake we've made letting him go, eh? 24 this season, 19 the season before. He's only got a 6.98 rating now, so he must have some shocking games as well. But yeah, Ronaldo leading the way this season. So what we're going to do then, guys, we've got 150 odd million pound to spend in the transfer window for season 3. So I don't think we need to make any wholesale changes. There's a couple of positions that we need to strengthen a bit. You know, that goalkeeping option, Navas, is cracking on. We brought him in for a season. He's obviously got 1 more season with us. But I'm probably going to need to now bring in, hopefully, an elite goalkeeper, if not a world-class one. So yes, join me for the start of season 3 shortly. So what a transfer window then, guys. This one has been absolutely massive. We have spent some dollar. When we have a look at the finances, we've now got £47 million in the bank. We're currently spending 4.7 million, so 200k under the wage budget. Overall balance is 326 million. But like I say, we have spent some money, and we've tried to recoup a bit of that money by letting some of our youngsters go. So Facundo Pellistri has gone off to RB Salzburg. Now, he went off for 8.25 million after we bought him for £9 million from Penarol. So he was never going to feature, he was never going to get into our first team, especially not in my 5 years in charge. So we let him go for a decent bit of money. We also let James Garner go. Now, he's gone off to Bayer Leverkusen. £10 million we let him go for, which... For a guy that hasn't played for us, yes, he went to Anderlecht last season, 37 goals, 4 goals, 10 assists. But £10 million from Bayer Leverkusen, not bad at all for a player like he's 22. But again, by that time, he should really have been in our first team squad. Then we let Jeffrey Kondogbia go. Now, he was one of my first signings when I took over at the club. We brought him in for £10 million from Atletico Madrid. Napoli coming with a £23.5 million offer for him. Played 17 times for his last season. Decent player, but now he's knocking on 30. He's, like I say, all round decent. But that kind of money when we paid £10 million for him. £13.5 million profit. Just what you need when you spend them big. I've freed Donny van der Beek and he has gone off to Atletico Madrid. Now, in the middle of last season, he went out on loan to Roma where he played 10 times, scored 3 goals with 2 assists. £30 million offer they come in for. Yes, we paid £26 million, but he didn't feature enough. And at the age of 26, you know, £30 million wasn't bad. And we've let him go to rebuild his reputation and his career. Another one to leave then, and this was a bit of like mixed emotion. Axel Tuanzebe. Now, he's decent, but a £38.5 million offer coming from Juve. And they've got add-ons. It could go up to £59 million. So the best part of 20 million with add-ons. There is a lot to that. They've got to win the Serie A. They've got to win the Italian Cup and all that stuff. But decent add-ons there. And he's mentally and physically great. 15 marking, 13 tackling, 13 heading. Isn't great, but he did play for us last season when we just jumped back to that. He played 14 times for us last season, but when you're getting the best part of a £60 million offer coming for him, you've got to let him go. And then a £67 million offer come in for Paulo Dybala. Now, I did bring him in for £50 million. He was one of my first signings, him and Kondogbia coming in. He played 22 times for us last season, only scored 6 goals. £67 million from PSG. And while he is still a superstar, and he is technically, look at him, he is gifted. But 29-year-old, almost £60 million. And I've got the players like Mbappe and whatnot who can do the business up front. It was worth cashing in on. So coming in first then, I've brought in the youngster Vika, whatever his surname is, Varatashahiliya. That's what, I'm never going to say that again, so we're just going to call him Vika. But we've brought him in, 22-year-old Georgian, 22 caps, 8 goals. He is a winger, and we brought him in for 13.5 million. The likes of PSG and Barcelona were sniffing about, so I went in, got the deal done. He was at Rubin Kazan last season where he played 20 times, scored 6 goals. And while he isn't the finished article at the minute, we've got him in amongst the first team. And I believe that he's only going to get better. Look at that, valued at up to £96 million. With Tuanzebe going then, we brought in Mera Demiral. Now, he joined us for £44.5 million from Atalanta. They made over double the money when they sold him to us after a season. He played 31 games in the Serie A last season for Atalanta, and he's very good. Again, like most defenders in Football Manager, they're not technically gifted, but heading, mark and tackling all above 16. Mentally and physically, what a player. 25-year-old as well, and he will be with me now until the end of the rebuild. Another player that's going to be with me to the end of the rebuild is Pedri. Now, we have gone out and spent big. He's currently valued at up to 259 million. 20-year-old Spanish international already, capped 26 times. Technically, mentally, physically. This is the guy, I believe, in real life, got a £1 billion release clause. We bought him for £72 million up front with £50 million of add-ons. So it's £130 million potentially. And that comes from goals, international caps, and winning titles, which we're hoping to do. So the chances are we're going to end up paying that entire £50 million across the course of the rebuild. But he played for Barcelona last season, 38 games, 11 goals, 9 assists. And this guy is going to sit in my midfield and he's going to become world class. But speaking of world class, the last player that we've brought in is Jan Oblak. There you can see media description, world class player. Goalkeeping attributes, bang on. Mentally decent, physically okay, 30-year-old, so he's in his prime now, and we've paid £115 million for him. And as far as I'm concerned, Jan Oblak is the final piece of the puzzle. So he played 38 times last season, 34 conceded, 18 clean sheets and 20 clean sheets the season before. He had an average rating of 7.31. So I reckon that is good business all around. And when we look at the transfers all together, yes, there's plenty more happened there. But we spent £245 million bringing players in and leaving the club. We've managed to bring in £182 million back. So we've done quite well there to try and balance that deficit. So looking at this team then, look at it. You've got Oblak in goal, Torres, Demiral and Varane at the back with Guerrero and Wan-Bissaka as wing-backs. Pedri and Fernandes in the middle. You know, you've also got players like Pogba there as well. Then you've got Mbappe and Cristiano Ronaldo out on the wings with Greenwood up front. That team, if I don't win the Champions League with that team this season, then the game's broke or I need firing because it's just not on. We have got a player that's potentially going to leave. Dalot is potentially going. There's been an offer coming for him, £20 million. Let's just remind myself of that so I get it right before he leaves. £22 million from Hertha Berlin. So he's the only player that could leave. Dean Henderson, you can see there, an offer coming for £30 million from Milan. No. Brandon Williams, £11.5 million from West Ham. No. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, £29 million from Tottenham. Not happening. As I'm trying to keep a lot of my team together. So the deals are almost done. Dalot could leave. And that's not the end of the world. As when we look at the squad, we have got some of the youngsters coming through. So Ethan Laird has come through from the reserves. Can play out on that right-hand side should Dalot go. And Alvaro Fernandez, another youngster from our reserve team, has also come through. Can play on left and right as wing-back as well. Now, why these guys aren't as good as the rest of the team, it's good to keep that youth coming through and developing it. So when we look at the squad dynamics, I've got 3 players that are unhappy and asking to leave. Rashford, Dalot and Mbappe. Mbappe's now on penalties, so he should be happy. And then when we're looking at the dynamics of the squad, my team leaders are Ronaldo, Pogba and Fernandes, 2 of them on my side. And that's my captain and vice captain anyway, so I'm happy with that. I've got 17 players as supporters and 8 players that have no real opinion of us. And then finally looking at the season preview, we're now expected a second place finish just behind Liverpool. In the Media Dream 11, all I've got is Mbappe, which does shock me considering the quality of the team that we've got. But I don't mind that. I'm not going to say we're the underdog. Definitely not the underdog in second place. But we're definitely not being given the respect that we deserve. So what we're going to do then is we're going to move forward into Season 3, where surely this year is the year that we win the Champions League. Right, so Season 3 out of the way, and we've won the league again. 89 points on the board. We finished 3 points clear of City and Liverpool, who dropped down into third on the final game of the season, it looks like, with that arrow there. Decent season for us. I'll take a back-to-back Premier League win, as we finish with 89 points on the board. Like I say, 38 games played, 27 wins, 8 draws, 3 losses. 8 draws and 3 losses, and we still won the league. How does that compare to last season? We had plenty more points than that, didn't we? 97 points last season, with Liverpool on 96. So if Liverpool had performed the same way this season, we'd have been absolutely smashed. But we scored 88 goals, 34 against, plus 54 goal difference. Manchester City, Liverpool and Chelsea making up the top 4. Newcastle United even spending their money, still in 9th place. Let's have a look at those past positions then. So it was only towards the end of the season that we got ourselves up into top spot with a 2-1 victory over Brentford. And then we stayed there with a 2-2 draw against Newcastle. Manchester City popped up, which means Liverpool have had a bit of a shocker. So they've gone from first to third. They won 2-1 against Leeds United, but then lost 1-0 to Norwich. And drew 1-1 with Burnley to drop down into third. So Liverpool have bottled. They have proper bottled it, haven't they? Let's be honest, they were in top spot from match day 2. Yes, they dropped down once while we popped up into the top spot, but they have well and truly blown it. Let's have a quick look at the competitions-wise then. So we've won the Champions League with a 2-0 victory over Manchester City, and we absolutely spammed it. When you look at that, we had 9 shots, 4 on target. McSauce with a goal in 8 minutes. Cristiano Ronaldo on 79. They had 26 shots and 10 on target. Oblak with an 8.5 rating there. Man of the match award for him as well. I cannot believe that. They've been proper FM. 26 shots, 10 on target. 18 corners. We've well and truly done them. So we win the Champions League. We've finally won the Champions League 3 seasons in. And the Premier League. We've also won the Carabao Cup. Who did we win the Carabao Cup against? 2-0 against Leicester. We were knocked out in the semi-final of the FA Cup, and we also won the Community Shield as well. We beat Liverpool on penalties after a 0-0 draw after extra time. So there we go. Quality performance. 4 trophies this season. Champions League and Premier League obviously being the big one as well. Looking at the finances wise, then we've got £154 million in a transfer budget, £176 million in the overall balance. We need to start working on that financial security now, as this team that we've got is world class. You know, that shows from the Premier League and the Champions League win. And bearing in mind, we've just won a quadruple. So for me now, we just need to consolidate and keep pushing that money into the club so the Glazers can keep on pocketing it. Look at the dynamics of the squad then. Team cohesion is excellent, club atmosphere is excellent, and managerial support is only good. I've got 3 players that are unhappy or concerned, so Eric Bailly wants to leave the club, that's fine. He'll be about 30-year-old now anyway, so we'll move him on. Pau Torres is concerned because he got a red card and we fined him for it. And Vika is unhappy being played in a weak role. Did he play any games this season? Yes, he made 9 starts, scored 3 goals and 2 assists. Currently valued at £68 million. Do you reckon we could get that kind of money back for him? 15 starts, 3 goals, 2 assists in the Premier League as well. So looking at the top influencers then, I've now got Fernandes and Ronaldo for supporters. Ronaldo is leaving the club. You know, he's had another decent season, 19 goals, but he doesn't want to renew his contract. He'll probably retire, I would imagine, once his season's over, but he is about to leave. As what a servant he has been to come back again. 12 goals this season, 27 the season before, and 10 the season before that. 19.75 million, I still think a cracking deal. And in fairness, if we were to try and sell him now, which obviously it's not going to happen, 13.4 million. Teams that are interested in him, Sporting. Wouldn't it be good if he went back and finished his career at Sporting? We'll wait and see what happens there. So overall then, looking at the player stats, top goal scorer was Mbappe with 32. Highest average rating, Mbappe again with a 7.32. Most assists, Guerrero with 17. Best pass completion was Demiral with 98%. Most player of the match awards, Mbappe with 12. Most yellow cards, Wan-Bissaka with 13. And most red cards, we have Bailly, Torres, Fernandes and Laird with 1 apiece. Team stats wise then, goals scored 88, which is the second best. Goals conceded 34, not bad. Third best. You know, with the back 3 that we've got and Oblak in goal, I'd have expected to concede less. Yellow cards wise, 61, which is the 8th worst, and 2 red cards, which was the 5th worst. But we still got the best average attendance in the league. So what we're going to do then, guys, is after winning that quadruple this season, we're going to push on again. May bring 1 or 2 players in. There's a couple of players that want to leave, so it should be a like-for-like transfer. But yeah, join me for the start of season 4, when hopefully we're in an even stronger position. So we've had a fairly quiet transfer window. Well, I say fairly quiet. We've spent some money. We've not had too many incomings, a few outgoings, and finances-wise, we're still in a solid position. So we've got £133 million in the transfer budget. We're spending £600k under the wage budget, and we've got £384 million in the balance. But we have made a loss of £52 million so far this month. The first bit of news is that Hannibal has left us. Now, he's not a player that we've seen so far throughout the save. However, he's a player that I was trying to integrate into the first team. He did not want to renew his contract with us. He went out on loan to Los Angeles last season where he played 19 games and he's gone off to Lille this season on a free transfer. So yes, he had the potential to be a decent player for us. While he wasn't a finished article at 21-year-old, it's quite disappointing to see him leave. But Eric Bailly, the player that said he'd achieved everything he could at Manchester United, has gone off to Benfica for £14.75 million. Now, I was happy with that deal. He was valued up to £30 million. And yes, we've probably lost 50% of that. It is what it is. He didn't play too much for us anyway. I don't really rate him now. He's 30-year-old. And to get 15 odd million for him, I'm pretty happy. However, my backup goalkeeper, Dean Henderson, has gone off to Atletico Madrid and he's valued at £105 million now. They put an offer in for £35 million and he only played 6 games this last season, 5 goals conceded. Obviously, Oblak now being our number 1. And whilst he is good and he's 24 caps for England, you know, he's probably England's number 1 now, I have let him go. And the biggest transfer then of this summer was Paul Pogba going to Barcelona for £45 million. Now, he was a regular starter for me, Pogba, in the midfield. 30 games last season, 5 goals, 2 assists. He's now 31-year-old, and I've brought a younger player in. Not much younger, but a younger player in that can play better in his position. So yeah, Pogba has gone, currently valued at £144 million. So coming in first then, Bernd Leno has joined us to replace Dean Henderson as the backup goalkeeper to Oblak, £7.25 million. He didn't play a game last season for Arsenal, and I'm not overly bothered. He's a decent deputy, he really is, and he'll do a job for us as that backup goalkeeper. With Cristiano Ronaldo going, I did want to strengthen out on the wide area, so I've brought in Anthony from Atletico Madrid. Now, we spent £50 million on him after he went there for £46.5 million last season. 19 appearances last season, 3 goals, 2 assists, and I'm happy with him. He's a very good player. He's got decent dribbling, cross and first touch technique. Acceleration and pace are okay at 14. I'd expect to see plenty from him this season. He's played 3 friendlies so far, 3 goals and 4 assists. And then finally, we've brought in SMS. Now, he has joined us to replace Pogba. Brought him in, 29-year-old, Serbian, 54 caps, 15 goals, £58 million we spent on him. He's been at Lazio for forever, in fairness. 37 games last season, 6 goals, 2 assists, 7.20 rating, and he's consistently over the 7 rating as well. Now, this guy's obviously more of a defensive player, a box-to-box central midfielder. But he's got a first touch of 16, long shots 15, passing technique. Look at, basically, mentally and physically, he's incredible. He's also a world-class midfielder, which is what Pogba was. So we've replaced like for like. So looking at this tactically then, we've gone to a back 4 with 2 in midfield and 3 behind the striker and 1 up front. We're playing a attacker mentality. We've changed it up a little bit from basically what was 5 at the back last season with the wing backs. But I feel now we need to get more of a solid formation. The formation that we had last time was very wide. So we're going with Oblak in goal, Guerrero, Torres, Maguire and Wan-Bissaka. I would probably look at Demiral there in fairness. SMS and Fernandez in the middle. Again, they can play in either position. And SMS as the ball-winning midfielder. Rashford, Pedri and Sancho. Could be Anthony with Greenwood up front. We've got a lot of rotation options there. You know, Diallo is another player. We've got Mbappe, who's probably going to play out in Rashford's position. Then Rashford could play up front potentially. But yeah, that is a tactic I'm going to be playing. We have actually had some offers in for some of our players. Harry Maguire, 17.5 million offer from Real Madrid. Tellez, 10 million offer from Sevilla. And Diallo, big offer coming for him, £37 million from Lazio, and it was a no. Diallo has definitely got a future at the club. So looking at the dynamics wise then, we're excellent across the board. No issues with players. Top influencers wise, Fernandez, Mbappe and Rashford, all supporters. I've now got 17 players to support us. 6 players that have no real opinion of us. However, I've got no players that oppose us. And looking at the competitions wise then, again, we're across the board with the Premier League, Champions League. We've got the Super Cup this time, so we play Bayer Leverkusen in the Super Cup final, FA Cup, Carabao Cup and Community Shield, which comes up against Manchester City. So plenty of chances for silverware again. So we're going to move forward to the end of Season 4, where hopefully we've added some silverware to that trophy cabinet. So Season 4 is over and we've ended up finishing in second place, a point behind Manchester City. 95 points, not enough to win us the league. How many points was it last season again, just to remind myself? 89 points. So we finished 6 points better off, but we just could not beat City. We actually scored 101 goals each. And that just shows how dominant we both were. So we've both played 38 games. We won 30, drew 5, lost 3. 101 points on the board, 20 conceded. Who did we lose to? Manchester City, Arsenal and Leeds. So they actually lost to us as well, 3-1. So we took 3 points off each other. We ended up with a goal difference of plus 81. And I am interested to see the past positions where we didn't catch them. Manchester City just finished in top spot and we just could not catch them. We chased them all the way through by the look of it and it just wasn't enough. So looking at the competitions wise then, we were knocked out of the Champions League in the quarterfinal by Liverpool. Who else? Liverpool have destroyed us in Europe more or less every season. They've been responsible for most of our exits in most competitions, in fairness. But we did win the Super Cup. It wasn't important, that's what the board expectation says, but at least we've won some silverware. We also won the Community Shield. We finished runner-up in the FA Cup. Who against? Watch it be Liverpool. We drew 2-2 and then lost on penalties to Man City. I can't have a look at that. I just cannot cope with another defeat. And the Carabao Cup knocked out in the quarter-final by Chelsea. So finances-wise, how we're looking? 218 million in the overall balance. Transfer budget of £247 million next season. Very handy. 4.7 million wage budget. We're spending 4.2, so we got plenty of money in there. Looking at the squad dynamics then, team cohesion's excellent. Club atmosphere very good. And manager support's excellent. Slightly on the decline. Plenty of players that want to leave. Greenwood, McTominay and Anthony is being played in a weak role. How did he get on? Let's have a look at how Anthony done. So 1 goal in 20 league appearances. 50 million well spent there. We didn't really get the return that I was after. Looking at the influencers then, I've got 21 player supporters. 1 player has no real opinion of us. And Anthony opposes us. Forget it, Anthony. I'll get you on side, I'm sure. And then looking at the player stats, so the top goal scorer was SMS. Milinkovic-Savic with 22 goals in the Premier League. 32 goals in all competitions. Does he score that normally? No, 22 goals. 6 last season. His highest goal tally was back in 2017-18 when he scored 12 goals. So, yeah, he was definitely worth the money. £61 million well spent. He also had the highest average rate, and most assists was Guerrero with 19. Best pass completion was Demiral with 98%. Most fair to match awards was SMS with 8, which you'd expect. Most yellow cards, Wan-Bissaka with 16, and McTominay got 1 red card. In the Premier League then, we scored 101 goals, which was the best, and we conceded 20, which was the best. So we were best in both goals scored and conceded. Yellow cards wise, we got 72, which was the 6th worst, and no red cards this season. In the league, that is anyway. So finally then, looking at our squad depth for this final season in charge. Where do I need to strengthen? Definitely up top. It's basically across the back four, as both of the full-backs really are not strong enough. Guerrero and Wan-Bissaka both 3-star. In the centre of defence, I've got Demiral, Maguire, Torres, but Varane is cracking on now. How old is he? 32-year-old. I might get another season out of him, in fairness. And then in goal, Oblak and Leno. So I'm probably just going to strengthen in the back four. Mainly to bring some more English players in. I think that's where we go now. Try to bring in some of our domestic nationality. That is probably the way to go. So that's it then, guys. We're going to move forward to the start of Season 5. Well, I've got £250 million to spend. But who can I bring in for that kind of money? So in classic rebuild style, when I said just before the break about building up some of the English players within the squad and increasing those numbers, I've managed to sell 2 English players and only bring 1 in. I say sell 2 English players. The first disastrous bit of news is that Mason Greenwood was allowed to leave on a free transfer. Now, he did not want to renew his contract with us, and he's gone off to PSG. Now, PSG seem to have got their own back for when we snatched Mbappe off them. And Greenwood, who played 35 times his last season, 13 goals. Yeah, we couldn't renew his contract over the summer, and he's gone off to PSG. And I'm absolutely gutted for him going. But Scott McTominay, another one, has gone off to Ajax. He went to Ajax for a total of £23 million. £7 million add-on could make it £30 million. Last season he didn't play a game for us, so it was a no-brainer. But we've replaced McTominay with an Englishman, Jude Bellingham, coming in, 22-year-old, world-class midfielder, mentally, physically, technically incredible, currently valued at £148 million, and we met his release clause, £100 million to take him on. Now, he's played 26 times last season, 8 goals, 11 assists, 2 player of the match performances, and this guy with SMS in the middle, obviously we've got Bruno Fernandes who can play in there as well. Top quality central midfield partnership there. I then wanted to strengthen at the back, so I've brought in a 28-year-old Brazilian, Luis Felipe. Now, we brought him in from Tottenham, 48.5 million we spent on him, played 26 games in the Premier League last season. No goals, no assists, no player of match performance, a 6.95 rating. He's just been brought in to add to the squad depth. I'd still see 20 games out of him this season. But yeah, 28-year-old Luis Felipe in through the doors. And then with this whole Mason Greenwood debacle and him leaving the club, I've brought in Dusan Vlahovic. Now, he has joined us for quite a modest amount of money, I would be honest. We've spent £92 million on him. That is it, just £92 million after Borussia Dortmund spent 59 on him from Fiorentina. Scored 19 goals in 31 appearances last season and 22 the season before. I think £92 million is good going. Haaland was valued at £400 million. I did put a sneaky £400 million offer in for him from Manchester City. They accepted. I just wanted to see if they would accept. I had no interest in paying that amount of money. But Vlahovic comes in. He's going to play up front. Hopefully that'll soften the blow of Greenwood leaving. So finances wise then, we've got £36 million in the bank. Our wage budget is 4.7 million. We're spending 4.9. So let's just adjust that budget to get ourselves right. So we are bang on now. Leaves us £24 million in the bank. And we've got a 287 million overall balance. But we are still in the black. We're still looking strong. Squad dynamics and team cohesion is very good. Club atmosphere is excellent and my geo support is excellent. Asking to leave, Varane wants to start more games. Vika wants to leave to get better playing time. It's not going to happen. And Anthony's playing in a weak role. That's the same as before we left for the break. And then looking at the players and supporters, I've got 16. 6 players have no real opinion of us, but no players support us, so that's a winner. Tactically, this is going to be my team for Season 5. So I've got Oblak in goal, Guerrero, Torres, Demiral and Wan-Bissaka at the back, with SMS and Bellingham in the middle, Mbappe, Pedri and Sancho, with Vlahovic up front. That team, you know, we have had good teams season after season. This team has got to win us the league and the Champions League as a bare minimum this season. Got to get us to the final of the Champions League. It's got to happen. The amount of money that's been spent this season, just having a look at that transfer history again, I spent a total of £241 million on 3 players this summer. Finally then, looking at the season preview, we are expected to win the league. Finally, league favourites, 13-8. We've got 3 players in the Media Dream 11, Sancho, Bellingham and Mbappe, and I'm happy about it. How did Haaland do last season? I don't know if he had a look, as he got 40 goals in 37 starts. He's been worth every penny. That's £132 million. He really has. 25 goals in his first season, 36 in his second, 40 this season. And bearing in mind, Man City beat us by a point of a league title last season. So, this is it. Final season. Got to add some more silverware to the trophy cabinet. Ideally the Premier League and the Champions League as a bare minimum. Right, so that's it then, guys. We are done and dusted, and the first thing we can see is that we smashed Manchester City this season to win the league. 97 points on the board, 8 points clear of City in the end. Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool finishing down in 5th place. Who's in charge of Liverpool now? Barry Lautas. I'm assuming he's an interim manager, so somebody has just been sacked, I was going to say. So, as it stands, we finished top of the league. Like I say, let's have a look at it in all its glory. 31 wins, 4 draws, 3 losses, 109 goals scored this season. 32 conceded, a goal difference of plus 77. And let's have a look at the past positions then. So, it was a battle to get up into that top spot. We got there on match day 18, a 4-2 victory over West Ham United, before dropping down into second after a 3-3 draw with Brighton. But then we get back into top spot with a 4-1 victory over Bristol City. Bristol City in there. Love that. Manchester City then, basically in the top 2 all the way through. They drew 1-1 with Arsenal, and that dropped them down into second place, and then they just couldn't catch us. Competitions-wise, we've won the Champions League with a 2-1 victory over PSG. Big stuff there. We've finished runner-up in the FA Cup. 1-0. 1-0 in extra time to Norwich. Give Norwich a round of applause. That's not bad going now. Oh, we've lost to Norwich. Well, you know, there's plenty of worse teams I was going to say we could have lost to. That's not true. Norwich, are they even in the Premier League? Norwich finished in 10th place, so not bad at all. Carabao Cup, what was the drill there? We won 4-1 against Tottenham in the final. And then in the Community Shield, we won on penalties against City. So there you go. What's that this season? He's had 4 trophies. 4 trophies and a runner-up in the FA Cup. Absolute dominance. How have we left the club financially then? We've got 128 million in the overall balance, so not great. I'm not going to lie, you know, there's plenty of money in there before we took over. We have gone big, and there'll be more money to come in when the season officially ends. We've got £129 million in the transfer budget, and we've got a wage budget of 5.8 million, and we're spending almost £1 million a week under that. So, dynamics and how am I leaving the club? Team cohesion is excellent, club atmosphere is good, and managerial support is very good. How can club atmosphere not be outstanding? Really, yes, I've got 3 players who are unhappy. Wan-Bissaka wants a better deal. Varane wants to return to France, we would let him go. And Vika wants more playing time. How many games did he get this season? 12 substitute appearances, 1 start. Looking at my influencers then, anybody opposes? No. But I've got 16 players as supporters. 6 players have no real opinion of us. Obviously my team leaders are fully supporters. And then looking at the player stats, so Vlahovic with 37 goals this season. 22 goals in 25 starts, 44 starts, 37 goals in all competitions. I'll take that. Not bad for 92 million. He's matched his best season in the Bundesliga, so not a bad first season for us in the Premier League. Mbappe had the highest average rating of a 7.48. Most assists was Fernandes with 24. Best pass completion was Luis Felipe. 99% of his passes found their destination. Most player of the match awards, Vlahovic with 10. Most yellow cards, Bruno Fernandes with 9. And Vika got 1 red card. But in the Premier League, we scored 109 goals, which is the best. 32 goals conceded, which is the second best. Yellow cards wise, 26, which is the best. And 1 red card, which is the 7th worst. I am intrigued though. I want to know how Erling Haaland got on. So Erling Haaland scored 40 goals this season. 40 goals, 57 in all competitions. He scored 12 in 9 games in the Champions League. This guy, incredible. I've still not bought him. He's not been purchased. I had him in Dortmund and then he disappeared. I couldn't keep him with us. But yeah, I've never purchased the guy, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on in a team like my own. And then finally, before we leave Manchester United, let's have a look at the milestones. So I was hired in 2021. At the end of that season, I won the FA Cup. The season after, we won the Community Shield and the Premier League. With the season after that, winning the Super Cup, Community Shield, Champions League, Premier League and Carabao Cup. The season after that, we won the Charity Shield. And then this season, we've won the Carabao Cup, the Champions League and the Premier League. Obviously, the Community Shield was there as well. We've just missed out to Norwich, who done us over. done us over in the FA Cup final. So there you go. Let's have a look at the money that I've spent. And so I've spent £840 million on 16 players. I sold 58 for a total of 512 million. I spent 1,700 days on holiday and I haven't played a game, as you can see there. So completely simulated. And I think we've done all right. So Manchester United fans, you've got to be happy with that. Letting Mason Greenwood go to PSG on a free transfer is undoubtedly the biggest regret of this episode. 100% for me. Not being able to get him to renew and him buggering off to PSG. Actually, before we go, let's have a look at that. So Mason Greenwood then, here we go. PSG first season, 24 starts, 10 goals in the league, 15 in all competitions. So yeah, Mason Greenwood doing the business. What a disappointing situation that was, but it is what it is. So with that in mind then, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like I said at the start of the video, if you are new to the channel, please like and subscribe. It would mean a lot, as this channel is really starting to pick up traction and we're closing in on that 1,000 subscribers. So yes, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe and I'll catch you later. Ta-ra.